Well, thank you very much. And could someone please confirm that you can see these slides?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much indeed. Well, as you can see, the name of our presentation is New Year, Same Old Challenges. And we're talking about student, that's Kerry, and staff experiences, that's me, of AI in higher education in our presentation. And Kerry and I were thinking when the new semester started, are we just repeating this cycle over and over again where staff are worried about the misuse of AI by students? Students are either cynically cheating or think that they're using AI fairly, but in ways that are unacceptable to staff. And we were wondering, are we actually solving these AI challenges or just repeating them again and again? And is it possible to break this cycle? Because there are questions about evolving student study approaches and how staff feel about them. Are students using AI for lower level type tasks or for higher level tasks like critical analysis and creativity that we really want to draw and develop their knowledge and abilities for? We're also thinking about staff and the focus on detection and prohibition versus how students might perceive AI as a genuine aid to their learning.
Hello everyone, I'm Kerry. So although I just recently graduated this year, I was a student for 4 years. So when I started in 2021, there was no talk of AI, no ChatGPT. We were only warned against not copying off of your friends for assignments. So only human to human plagiarism. However, when I came back from my placement to do my final year, I noticed there was a huge shift towards now we're not allowed to copy robots. So this obviously was a huge change and a bit of a shock for me, and I didn't want it to affect my education. And also going forward, I didn't want it to affect future students as well. However, the challenge of this is obviously how do we assess this? But something clearly needs to be done because if the student is copying the AI or the robot, and the robot is then detecting whether whether the student has copied a robot, then I'm not sure who's doing the thinking in all of this, and something clearly needs to be done.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that led to some objectives that we had for a research project, my research team and I, who will be detailed in just a moment time, and about we can look into specific AI applications by students and think about how they influence their approaches to study and assessment, but also gain a knowledge of how students and educators' perceptions of what was fair and appropriate use of AI was and how they might have differed. So comparing the two perceptions with each other. The end goal was to develop some evidence-based recommendations so we could break this cycle that appears to be continuing. Over to you, Kerry.
So the research that I carried out was in collaboration with Dr. Stephanie Voiger and also Henry, as well as Ty, of course. So Henry was also a fellow student, an economics student, and we were the ones who decided to carry out the interviews that we did. So there was a varied mixture of staff and students that we did. And the reason that we ran it this way is we wanted to create an open environment so that they would open up to us and tell us the truth about their experience with AI. And this is exactly what happened. And it shows with the research. We had very honest answers and we managed to gain deeper insights because of running it this way.
Yeah, fantastic. So data that was collected from the interviews was analyzed thematically, and these honest answers from both students and staff provide a real range of views and different levels of positivity about AI. So in the findings, we could see there's a lot of stuff going on that staff don't always see, but they are suspicious about. So members of staff told us that they understand that there's likely to be some cheating when students are facing difficulties in their life. They may reach for the dark side and turn to AI to help them with essays and assignments and such. One of the staff that we spoke to estimated that about 30% of students are engaging in misconduct resulting from the misuse of AI. What do you think of that? Drop it in the chat if you agree or disagree. And there was a recognition that they're using AI every single day in their personal life, so why not use it for their university work too? Students also revealed that they use tools like AI humanizers, which transform their work into a form so it can bypass AI detectors, meaning that tools like the Turnitin AI detector are basically useless. More on that coming later. And of course, students were using tools like Grammarly and such as well to help with their work, which wasn't really cheating, but could be flagged by AI detectors. Back to Kerry.
So some of the actual research that we gained, I'm going to go into this now. So we had a few paradoxes where people's values and their actual morals and their thoughts, their actions don't quite match up with that. So one student said that they're too much of a control freak to give away that much trust to a robot or to an AI. They said no way. However, later on in the interview, they revealed that they'd actually used it for university work and also for preparing for a medical school interview. And then a staff member said that they would never ever use it as the final submission, maybe just as a starting point. However, then they decided to tell me that they have actually used it for an application for a promotion. So from what I got from this is that these are quite key life events, in my opinion, anyway. And even these people who clearly have a moral thought about the use of AI and not wanting it to control them, they are the ones who are still using it. And I think this speaks volumes to the fact that AI, the reason that they are probably using it is because AI can get to that higher level of education and the higher level of work much more efficiently. And that's probably most likely the reason why people are using it. And I think this is why we can't avoid it and we should integrate it into education because of this. So another thing that was flagged to me quite a lot of times was actually losing skills over time because of becoming over reliant on AI. So one person said that people are now gaining approximate knowledge and it's stripping away the work ethic. However, this person also said that it has been invaluable for their learning as well. And this was widespread across a lot of the participants. They found that it was actually beneficial for their learning. So just to list a few, so summarizing texts or research papers, generating ideas, or revising for exams. I had one person who told me that they had learning difficulties and they've always struggled with revising for in-person exams. And this person said that since they've started using AI to actually revise, their exam results have gone to the moon because they've had the AI be able to explain things to them in a way that is personalized for them. So this is definitely why AI should be used as a tool and not a crutch. So instead of leaning on it, then you might lose those critical thinking skills instead of just banning it. So no use versus use, because these can both also have negative implications on education.
Another major thing that we found from speaking to staff and students was the new digital inequality or digital poverty, which I'm sure is something that we're all aware of and have come into contact with. Students that are paying for advanced premium AI tools seem to get better results or have better features than those who are using the free models. An interesting one that we found as well, that every single participant in our study, staff and students, was self-taught with regard to using AI. It was trial and error how they were learning. And we linked this with the Digital Education Council report from last year, which showed that most students felt they didn't have sufficient AI knowledge and skills and didn't feel adequately prepared for the workforce. So it's sad to see this cycle continuing as well.
So another thing that was flagged to me was the devaluation of degrees. Some people felt that people were incompetent and yet they got first. And also this would increase the competition going forward for jobs and things like that. And it can also be quite dangerous if people are going out who have got that first and they are actually incompetent, depending on what role they're actually in. So, however, on the other side, a lot of people said that they think that it would lead to a higher academic level and actually train people to a high level. So if one university is using AI, their students might actually be better equipped to go out into the real world, and their grades might actually increase because of the use of AI, instead of just purely banning it.
Fantastic. And I'm going to get up on my hobby horse here. If anybody knows anything about me, they know that I'm constantly campaigning for universities to stop using flawed AI detectors. And believe it or not, with no prompting, some of the participants in this study recognized that the Turnitin AI detector was not good, and it had flagged work as AI written that was written before AI was a thing back in the 80s or whatever. So if you're listening out there, time to campaign for your university to turn off the Turnitin AI detector.
So when we analysed the overall themes for the whole of the research and all of the transcripts, we found that the main student concerns were the fairness of the use of AI and the ethical use of it. And also they wanted future-proof skills. That was what they wanted from their education. And we also found that this was the same with the staff. So to conclude this, the staff and the students actually want the same thing. There is no divide between what the students want from their education and what staff want from educating others as well.
Yes, very interesting. So students and staff, we want the same things. It's time to break the cycle through dialogue, not policy. So we're thinking about having conversations with students about how they want to learn to use AI effectively, critically, ethically, and responsibly, and move them from AI literate to AI critical understanding when, why, and whether to use AI in their studies and their future careers.
Yep, so going forward then, an action that needs to be done is to listen to student voices like I did in those interviews, because a lot of the time students know a lot more than you could possibly imagine about subjects such as this. So that's exactly what we did. We ran a poster competition where we had students tell us how they think that they could learn best with the use of AI in their assignments for their particular degree. And we had really good engagement with this. They came up with ways to be critical, to use it ethically and not over rely on it, and to be responsible with that AI use as well. So as Tig said, it's all about breaking that cycle. We're now dealing with a technology that demands change. So that's something that we're going to have to do going forward. And at the end of the day, the student is the one who's accountable for the work that they submit. So therefore, if that work is to that higher level, this should over time generate critical thinking skills, because it's a harder nature of what they're actually submitting. So that sort of concludes our whole research and what we found.
Thank you very much. And while we're taking questions, please, my friends, scan this beautiful QR code here. It's a survey questionnaire about how do staff, students, and education technologists feel about AI being used for marking. Is this a bridge too far, or is this the future? Please have your views. You can get a report if you're an academic, a summary of the study's findings. If you're a student, you can win one of three £50 one for all vouchers. If you could share this with your students, or if you're a student, please complete this. We would love you long time. And if you're a researcher, we will help promote your projects too. This is a project with 16 universities in which I'm involved. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you both so much. I let things run over. We've run over into the question time as well, but I didn't want to interrupt because I thought it was such the messages were so powerful, and I know that lots of questions have come in through the chat. So I'm so sorry, but we're not going to be able to field questions right now. But if you do have questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll try to get to those. But that really was a fantastic talk. Thank you so much. It was
Thank
really
you very much.
powerful
Yes,
messages.
indeed. Kerry and I will get to as many questions as possible in the chat if you go and complete the questionnaire and share it with your students.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was brilliant. Thank you.